And you're in my studio, Stitched by Susan. Lovely Monday. The sun is out today. We've had a weekend of rain and clouds, but it's really lovely to see the sun. Not very warm yet, still pretty chilly out there, but lovely to see the sun. So I'll just chat for a moment while YouTube is letting everyone know that I'm here and watch what the numbers are looking like. So if you see my eyes going back and forth, that's what I'm doing, reading the stats. I've been coming live every day for about 2 weeks, and I'm going to do it for at least 2 more, Monday through Saturday, just on impromptu topics that have to do with what I'm working on that day in the studio that I think might be of interest to you. So as always, you are welcome to comment on the feed with any questions that you have or suggestions for topics, and I will certainly consider those. There we go. Now a bunch of people are tuning in. Cindy, Judy, good. Nice to see you all. Denise, fabulous. Okay, I have something really fun to show you guys this morning. Have a look at this. I was at the grocery store yesterday. Okay, you know how I love my coffee. And hopefully this is right side up for you. I think you get a mirror image of what I'm seeing because in my screen it's backwards. But this is Stella blue coffee and Big Cat blend. Isn't that hysterical? Of course, my quilting machine is named Stella. Here's Stella right here. And I have a big cat, so it just seemed like the perfect coffee for me. We made a pot this morning. Don't know that I'm 100% sold. It's a bit robust for my taste, but we'll drink a few more pots and see what we think about it. Okay, today's topic is a super practical one. I'm going to move out of the way of the camera and hopefully you can see me down here. Once again, I am sorry, I've forgotten my mic, so I've got to stay fairly close to my phone. But notice how I've got this saggy backing happening here. And why is that? Well, the reason is my batting is only a very little wider than my actual quilt top, but my backing is quite a bit wider. Because I'm doing ruler work on this quilt, I asked for 8 inches on every side, right? So I've got a lot of fabric here that has no batting. So as it's rolling up on the take-up bar, it's not fluffy with batting, like this roll is plump. This is not. However, there's a super easy fix for it. Well, maybe I should say first why it matters. I already have mine basted, but if you don't have it basted yet, it just makes it difficult to control the backing, difficult to put your side clamps on the backing, right? It's just harder to be confident that things are flat and square. So here comes the easy fix. Are you ready for this? This is a low-tech easy fix. Grab the last layer on your roller, tug it until it's snug, pull it kind of around the roller and tuck it right under where it's held in place. Of course, I'm way back at the beginning of my quilt and it's not tucking very well. Try one more time. There we go. And now it is nice and straight and I can put my clip on. And if you have trouble getting yours to stay straight, the other option is always that you can literally put a pin in running parallel with this bar and that will hold it infallibly in place too, right? So an easy fix to get that saggy baggy wonkiness under control so you know what's happening and you don't get these dips and dives. Super easy fix. So what's happening with this quilt, because that was a quick tip, I've been showing my work on it the last few days and I've worked my way from the top all the way to the bottom, kind of stabilizing everything, stitching in the ditch around this little yellow border, basting around the perimeter, and doing a certain amount of free motion work in the baskets. There's 2 different styles of baskets, some that have 2 triangles here and some that have just 1. So the ones that have 2 triangles are entirely completed free motion. The ones that have 1 triangle, the top half is free motion. And the design has evolved. Initially, I had planned a free motion feather spray. Actually, I think I have it here. Hang on. Can you see that? Oh, not really. Woo! If I move around a little, you can. I had planned a feather spray like that in the bottom half of these baskets. But what happens sometimes is between that audition board, which only gives you a 2-dimensional vision, it fits, it seems appealing and appropriate quilting design, but when I actually quilted out the first one, I didn't love it because I'm using a pale gold thread through all of the baskets, but there's all different colors, right? There's yellow and pink and purple and royal blue and teal and aqua and all these things. So when I laid that feather design in free motion, there's a fair bit of overstitching and thread buildup. and I didn't like the look of it because that gold thread showed up a lot in some places and almost disappeared in all the yellow places. So I couldn't get them to look good, right? So what I eventually did and pivoted was I found a computerized design that's a little more spread out and has no back stitching. And so it kept that thread density down a little bit, especially any overstitching areas, and looks much better. So in short, again, I worked my way all the way to the bottom of the quilt doing the free motion portions of the basket blocks. And now I'm working my way all the way back up to the top, putting in those digitized, computerized, you can see it on my computer back there, designs into the triangles that remain, the half baskets that remain. Once I get to the top, then I'll change thread color to dark green, and then I'm gonna do a piano key, just parallel lines in the outer border, and then we're done. So maybe, possibly, maybe I'll get it done today. Okay, let's scroll back a touch because I do see some comments coming in that I want to chat about. Gaynor tuning in from South Africa. Hello, Gaynor. Janice is assuring me you can still hear. Susan Berry is asking, how do you float a quilt with batting that is pieced multiple pieces of batting? I typically don't do many pieces of batting, Susan, other than on my own quilts, but I sometimes do too, and in fact this quilt has two. What I do is I start at the top of the quilt, like I like my batting to be the full width of my quilt that I'm working on, and I work till I'm near the bottom of that area, and then I flip my quilt up and splice in whatever my method is. Now maybe you've watched me do it before. My method is typically to overlap the two pieces of batting and cut a wavy line and make sure that they're well nested together and then quilt that down. There has to be enough quilting to hold that together. I don't hand stitch it together or machine stitch it together. So if you're not comfortable with that method, then another way would be at your sewing machine to piece the batting to its full size and then float it as you would, if it was one single piece, right? Maybe that's a topic for one of these mornings, is a splice and a batting. I'll see if I can arrange a quilt that has that for one of these mornings. Okay, back to the comments, because there were a few that I wanted to address. Somewhere Debbie said, I'm not getting notifications from YouTube till the video is 5 minutes in. I'm sorry about that, Debbie. I honestly don't know what to do. It takes about 30 seconds on my end before I see, a little influx of people coming in. It's not practical for me to plan it a day in advance because I just never know which minute I'm going to be, ready to do it. And as you guys know, my grandkids are here now. So I just have to sneak it in when I can. So I'm sorry about that, Debbie, but they're always here for replaying. So there is that. Regina Boone, did you remove the stitching you didn't like? That's correct. I undid that one section of basket that I didn't care for, and I'll quilt over it with the new choice of design. And happily, that design is the right shape and size and appropriate for these setting green triangles on the side. So the same design is going in there as well. So I'm happy about that. Janice, we just have to get through the commercials first. Janice, that is the price we pay for watching YouTube. It's free. The price we pay is we've got to watch their ads or pay to have them taken away, one or the other. I know. I feel your pain. Anyway, that's the progress on this quilt. I'm not sure what more to say about it, but I will be live every day this week. Today's Monday. Every day through Saturday, I'll be here live again, talking about just daily topics, things that are happening in my studio. So I love the fact that you take the time to join in. I appreciate it. I do have a free workshop coming up, and later this week, registration will be opening for that. So tune into some of the lives this week so you get the details on that. I am largely a one-woman show. I have a couple of helpers that are part-time, so we've still got a few ducks to get in a row. But as we get that into place, I'll be letting you know more details on it. So, Gaynor, going back to consult your master class to quilts. Oh, where did it go? Darn it. These comments disappear sometimes. To quilt chrysanthemums on a quilt containing chrysanthemum fabric. Too fun, too fun. Well, I think I will mention here that I do have a monthly subscription membership also available. It's $12.97 a month, and each month I release a couple of new lessons. somewhat like today. They're different topics, different things. So they are not always edge-to-edge quilting like my free motion quilting masterclasses. Some of them are custom things or specific blocks. Some of them are guest teachers. And some of them, and this is what I want to highlight today, some of them are case studies, and I'm considering making one for this quilt and taking some detailed photos and talking about my design process, because I feel like when we're on social media and we see really artistic, really beautiful quilters doing these ornate and elaborate and wonderful quilts for people, and I'm thinking people like Natalia Bonner and Julia Quiltoff and Rebecca Silba, which is Ruby Blue Quilts. They are wonderful quilters, beautiful quilters. But what they do is extremely high end and extremely costly. And generally speaking, my clients do not come to me with quilts and say, the sky's the limit, go for it, right? They'll give me a ceiling, which is, you know, perhaps $300 or $400, and I cannot do that kind of quilting or anywhere near it for that kind of fee. So then how do I approach it? What things get cut? Where's the best way to keep a custom look and as beautiful as possible, and yet cut that time drastically in order to cut the price tag drastically for a client? So consider joining my membership, just because there are those kinds of case studies in there that walk you through my process on an actual client quilt. So whether it's, you know, what designs I'm choosing to complement each other, or in this case, what designs I'm choosing to simplify the quilting and keep it at a manageable, client-approved price point, these are the decisions you go through. And I'll give you a hint on it right now. A whole lot of the time cut is on not stitching in the ditch. So these individual basket blocks are not stitched in the ditch around. And I think a purist might look at that and say, well, I'm not happy with that because there's some bulges and some puckers in those seams and there's not enough quilting there. Well, these are the decisions that you have to weigh. Stitching in the ditch is incredibly time consuming, so sometimes it's the thing that has to go. And then how can you keep the quilt as flat as possible still? Anyway, all of that, I am seriously thinking about doing a case study on that. Let me know if you'd be interested in that. It could either go into my advanced membership or it might become YouTube content, who knows? Anyway, thanks you guys for joining me. I will be back again tomorrow morning, similar time, talking about hopefully another quilt by tomorrow. We'll see. If not, you'll get to see the final stages of this one. Thanks for joining me, and talk to you again soon.